morning, children. So yesterday, the last class, we have learned about the digestion. Okay, and now today we are going to see a new topic which is called as vomiting. Vomiting, everybody is well versed with the vomiting, right? So now what is vomiting? Vomiting is nothing but getting rid of the unwanted waste and harmful material which is not properly digested by the stomach. The food, when it is in the stomach, if it is harmful to the body, if it is not digested, then it will not be sent into the small intestine for the next level. So that will be omitted out. That will be sent out through the mouth, and we call that undigested food as vomiting, or you can say partially digested food as vomiting. Okay, so now we have already seen that there is a pipe-like structure which is called as esophagus, right? Are you able to see this one? Yeah. Now this is the esophagus. So when you have intaken the food, when you have taken the food and when you swallowed the food has come into the pharynx first, and then it has come into the esophagus, making the peristaltic movements like this. The food entered into the stomach, isn't it? This movement we called it as peristaltic movements, isn't it? Now the same movement here. Now what happens is the food which is inside here, which is harmful to the body, which is not proper, okay, not actually unwanted food like things, so it should be sent out. That means the food should go in a reverse order. That means what will happen here is it will be reverse peristalsis will take place, and the food, it will go to the same way from where it has come, and then it will be vomited. Most of the times, why this vomiting will take place? Because if you take excess amount of fat in your diet, when you take excess amount of fat in your diet, and when the diet is more than what you require, isn't it? If you overeat, sometimes there will be biryani in the home or any kind of food you like, so you'll not resist yourself. You'll keep on eating that, and you'll keep on eating that, and you'll keep on eating that till the time you vomit it, because your stomach will be, your belly will be full, and there will be no place for the food to get digested. It cannot move, so it will become very heavy, and what you have to do is you have to vomit it. The sensation comes out and you will vomit it, and then you will start feeling better. So when you take high proportion of food, or if the food has very great amount of, or you can say excess of fat in that, then definitely that will be vomited. So vomiting also occurs when you eat something which is really harmful to our body, or you can say poisonous material or indigestible material. When you eat something which cannot be digested, which is a kind of poisonous thing, okay, then definitely that will come out in the form of vomit. So this is about the vomiting, and the vomiting which comes, or sometimes it will be absolutely greenish in color, isn't it? Absolutely green in color, and this greenish color vomit is basically called as bilious. Okay, it is called as bilious when this, or you can also call it as liverish. The green color vomit which is emitted out, which is sent out, is also called as bilious, or you can also call it as liverish. Okay, so if you keep on eating rich meals, that is the food which is in the form of fatty food material, excessive fat, if you keep on taking for a longer time, so for 10 or 15 days you keep on eating biryani, you keep on eating the fat containing foods and all, no, the liver has to send the bile juice so that it can digest the fats and all. Sometimes now the liver also cannot act on that. Liver also will get tired. Come on, now that excess of fat will stay in your stomach, and now that will come out in the form of a green color fluid which is called as liverish, or you can call it as bilious, right? So now sometimes even you will have the feeling of nausea when the food is not digested properly in your stomach and all. Then you'll have a sensation of nausea. That means a vomiting kind of sensation, isn't it? So all this will happen when you eat excess amount of fat for several days. You can say energy rich meals, if you eat for a long time, then this problem will happen. And second thing is that there is another word which is called as indigestion. Indigestion is a term which is used when there is a great difficulty in digesting the food. The food which is in the stomach will not get digested properly, then we call it as the indigestion. So many people, if you go to a gastrologist also, there you can find several people who are sitting there because of the indigestion problem. There will be no proper digestion. They will be taking digestion tablets or some other fluids, isn't it? Because the digestion will not occur properly in their stomach. So even healthy people also can get this problem if they don't look these things or take these things into consideration. So if you don't want to get the problem of digestion, if you don't want to get the problem of indigestion, what you have to do is you have to have a very, very simple meals. And also you can say well balanced meals. That the meal should be balanced. Okay, so you should not take excess amount of food. Okay, and don't be in a great hurry to finish the food. Okay, eat very leisurely. It might take some time. Okay, there will be so many people. If you put some food in their plate and within 1 minute the food will be finished and everybody will be still eating the food. This you can see this kind of people because they will not grind the food. They will not masticate the food. They will not use their teeth to masticate. Hardly once or twice they will masticate, and they will easily, what they will do is they will swallow the food. Mastication of food is very important because that's the first step of digestion. If you don't masticate properly, the food will not be digested. There will be digestion problems. There will be indigestion problems. So that's why we have to eat the food in a leisurely manner. Okay, that is only possible through the mastication of the food. And sometimes some people, like they will go ahead with the violent exercises. Okay, very strong exercises after after eating the food. So that should not be done. And also drink plenty of water in regular intervals. If you have a belly full of food and don't drink water, isn't it? So take some time. Don't make your stomach feel very heavy. So before meals or before dinner or something, take a glass full of water, okay, or 1 liter of water. And after meals, again give a gap of 1 hour or 2 hours, and then you can have some plenty of water. So don't drink water as soon as you eat food. So drink water in regular intervals. Sometimes when you eat food and you keep on drinking a lot of water, even that also will result in vomiting, because you are not allowing the food to get digested. You are not allowing the digestive enzymes to get activated in your stomach, because your belly will be full of water. Again, that will lead to the indigestion problems. Okay, and there are some people who are in a very, very great hurry, always in a great hurry, and they will have improper meals. They will not have a proper meals at all. That will lead to the problem called as ulcers. You might have heard the word called as ulcers, and these people will go they will get ulcers and all. There will be duodenal ulcers. Okay, there will be stomach ulcers and all. So they will face a great problem. They cannot eat proper masala food and all. They should not eat chili food and all. Okay, and they should not drink some soft drinks and also all these kind of problem. If they do all these things, their ulcer, which is in the stomach or the duodenum, or they will get irritated, and the pain will there will be pain which is unbearable. So for a long time they cannot do all these things. So we should take the diet in regular intervals. Okay, you should not directly go ahead with the food whenever you want. So if you're eating breakfast at a particular time and the lunch at a particular time and dinner at a particular time, then it will not be a problem. So don't skip your breakfast. Sometimes you will skip your lunch. Directly you will have breakfast and then you will have the dinner time. So your stomach will be habituated for the lunch at the afternoon hours. So when you don't give the proper lunch, then the HCl will come out. The acid will come out. It will burn your stomach. Though there is mucus layer, but if it happens continuously, then it will form ulcers. So we should be extra careful about all these kind of things. Okay, so this is about the vomiting and the indigestion and also ulcers, right? So now we are going to enter into a very, very important topic, which is called as the malnutrition. What is the topic called as? Malnutrition. So shall we go ahead? Okay, children. So Our next topic is malnutrition. So before going into this topic, let me tell you something. See, our food which we eat is the major source for all the biological processes which happens in our body, whether it may be for any kind of energy, or for walking, or for running, or talking, okay, for even thinking, for each and every process which takes place in our body. What is the requirement is only food, because food gives us the energy. So if it is not taken in a proper balanced way, it will lead to several problems. So we already know that there are carbohydrates, there are proteins, there are fats, vitamins and minerals. Okay, so what are they? Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, vitamins. So these are the 5 very important nutrients which are there in our diet, or which should be in our diet. So all these nutrients should be taken in a proper way, should be taken in a balanced way. You just cannot take carbohydrates in a very rich way, and then proteins, very less amount of proteins, or fats you will take in excess, and you will not take minerals and vitamins properly. Then they may lead to many health issues. Okay, so each and everything should be taken in a proper way. So now we call, if you are taking the food in a required amount, okay, we call it as a balanced diet. We call it as a balanced diet. So due to lack of balanced diet, people suffer from various kind of problems. The kind of problems, even you cannot imagine those kind of problems. Okay, so it is very important for us to discuss about the dangerous or deadly diseases which are caused because of the lack of proper nutrition, lack of balanced diet. Okay, so sometimes people might eat food which is lacking in one or more than one nutrient. For example, if a person is taking only carbohydrates, okay, and is not taking proteins and fats properly, then he is not eating what? Proteins and fats, isn't it? So his diet is full of only carbohydrates. And sometimes some people will only eat protein food. They will not touch carbohydrates or fats. That means they are leaving some food. That means their diet is deficient of to one or more than one nutrients. Their diet is deficient of carbohydrates and fats if they are eating only proteins. If they are eating only fats, their food is deficient of carbohydrates and proteins. Sometimes one or more than one nutrients will be lacking in the diet which we eat, and that problem, that condition is called as malnutrition. It's called as malnutrition. So this malnutrition may be of many cases, right? No, there are many reasons why the malnutrition will take place. For example, some people will undergo willful starvation. That means they will starve on their will. They want to go ahead with the diet, or they don't want to they want to gain weight, and also they will stop eating the food. So if they stop eating the food, now what will happen? That will lead to the deficiency of some kind of nutrients in the diet, and that will lead to the condition called as malnutrition. Sometimes economic problem of the people will also be a problem. Sometimes, like if you go to some places and all, if you ask the children what they have taken. So I personally visited a few people. When I asked a child, what you have taken, had your breakfast? So he said that no, I did not have the break. Then what did you eat? I had a cup of tea. So cup of tea is his breakfast. That is what he stays the whole day, whole morning till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock only with a cup of tea. It's because of the poor, and economic conditions are really poor. Sometimes a child or anybody may be of very poor health, where they will not be able to consume very good amount of food. Even if they eat 1 or 2 gulps of food, it will be very heavy for them, and they will not eat the food properly. So sometimes there will be discrimination problems. There will be a boy and girl in the home. So the boy will be fed in a very good way and the girl will not be given that importance. So still, now we are very fortunate that people are able to understand the situation. They are looking the both genders equally, but still there are places where this kind of discrimination is also taking place. Sometimes people are not at all aware of what a balanced diet is. What are the nutrients definitely they should be in the diet. Okay, if there is a mother and if there is a newborn child, maybe 1 year or something, if he keeps on only feeding him with the only rice without any dal or the curries or something, what will happen is the child will be only fed on the carbohydrates. Now the child is not getting proper amount of proteins and fats. That means he will have some health issue, isn't it? So lacking one or more than one nutrient in the diet is called as the malnutrition. Okay, so I told you, like socio-economic factors, that is poverty, okay, lack of education, lack of awareness on the nutrients, okay, and sometimes gender discrimination, sometimes very poor health of the child or adult. So whatever the condition is, because this condition will lead them to the malnutrition. So now there are three different kinds of malnutrition. So we'll see what are the three different kinds of malnutrition. Okay, children, there are three types of malnutrition. First one is calorie malnutrition, second one is protein malnutrition, third one is protein calorie malnutrition. So when you come to the calorie malnutrition, so we'll talk about the calorie first. What is calorie? It's nothing but the food which is rich in carbohydrates and fats. So if any food is rich in carbohydrates and fats, we can call it as calories, right? So if the food is deficient in calories, that means the child is or the adult is not given proper diet which is full of calories, which has balanced calories. Okay, second one is protein malnutrition. That means the diet which is deficient in proteins. That means the person is not given proper diet with balanced proteins. Proteins were deficient in the diet which he took for a long time. So that's why that condition is called as protein malnutrition. Third one is protein calorie malnutrition. So what is protein calorie malnutrition here? That means the diet which is completely deficient in proteins, carbohydrates and fats. All these three are completely absent in them. That's why we call this malnutrition as protein calorie malnutrition. So totally there are three different types of malnutrition. One is calorie malnutrition, second one is protein malnutrition, and third one is protein calorie malnutrition. Okay, and now we are going to read about three different diseases which basically come because of deficiency of the proteins or carbohydrates or fats in the diet. So let's see them. Okay, one is Kwashiorkor and second one is Merasmus. Okay, Kwashiorkor is an African word. It is an African word, and this disease is seen in the people, especially children, and also sometimes in adults also. It's because of the lack of proteins and calories in the diet which we intake. So proteins and calories, if they are deficient in the diet which we intake, then the result will be a disease called as Kwashiorkor. Okay, so when people suffer from Kwashiorkor, when a child suffers from Kwashiorkor, especially if you go to the African region, you can see several people suffering from this kind of disease. Okay, now as you can see on the board, in the disease called as Kwashiorkor, the child will have this swollen body. The body will swell. Why the body will swell? Because there will be accumulation of water in the intercellular spaces. So in all the intercellular spaces, the water will come and accumulate. So on the whole, the body will become swollen. And because you are not taking any kind of protein, if the child is not given any protein, there will be no muscle development. Okay, so that's why you can say there will be a very, very poor muscle development. Because there is water, accumulation of water, even the limbs also, even the legs also will be completely swollen. You can see swelling in the limbs, and even the face also will become completely fluffy. Okay, so I'll be showing you the pictures. You might be seeing the pictures now. So in this picture you can see that the face is completely fluffy, isn't it? It's over swollen. Okay, and then there will be a problem in difficulty in eating. The child will no more interested in eating the food. So the child will not be interested to eat the food. And this kind of children will, or adults will, regularly go ahead with the problem called as diarrhea. I mean motions. Okay, and also they will have the dry skin on their body. So these are all the problems the child or any adult should face if they are suffering from a problem called as Kwashiorkor. So if you don't want to get Kwashiorkor, a disease called as Kwashiorkor, then what you have to do is you have to eat very good balanced diet of protein. If you do this one, then you will never get Kwashiorkor. You might be seeing so many pictures over there, okay, where the children are suffering from Kwashiorkor. See how the children are. You can see their limbs. Okay, you can see their situation. Because these kind of children will not get proper food at home. So they have to suffer a lot, and because of this suffering, they are into a disease called as Kwashiorkor. So the disease called as Kwashiorkor is due to the protein deficiency in the diet. If there is deficiency of proteins in the diet, that will lead to the problem called as Kwashiorkor, to a disease called as Kwashiorkor. So if the child or an adult is given the diet which is completely deficient in the proteins, okay, if the child is only eating, or if the adult is only eating the excess amount of carbohydrates and fats and not at all interested to eat the proteins and all, then definitely the child will be subjected to a problem called as Kwashiorkor. So if you want to get rid of this Kwashiorkor, what you have to do is you have to take a balanced diet including carbohydrates, proteins and fats, isn't it? So if you do all these things and all, then definitely what will happen is your diet will be a balanced diet and you will not get this kind of problems at all. Okay, so next one is the Merasmus. So Merasmus is also a disease which is because of the deficiency of nutrients, but here the deficiency of the nutrients here is, that is, both calories and proteins are missing in the diet. If the child or an adult is not given proper amount of proteins and vitamins and proteins and carbohydrates and fats in the diet which he is eating, that will lead to a problem which is called as Merasmus. Merasmus, generally, this Merasmus is seen in the children where the mother gives birth to a immediate child. If there is an immediate pregnancy, the child, if a child is born and very immediately after 9 months if another child is born, then this mother will not be able to give the child milk. This mother will not be able to take care of the child properly. So all these kind of problems will be there. So that will lead to a problem called as Merasmus. And when a child gets Merasmus, or when an adult gets Merasmus and all, you can see here in the picture, the child will become so weak that it will be impossible for him to even to stand. Okay, there will be swelling in the limbs and muscles will be very, very less developed, and there will be dry skin. Okay, the body will be completely weak, isn't it? So, and these are all the symptoms of problem called as Merasmus. Sometimes Merasmus can be seen in the places where people suffer from famine. Famine in the sense where the people will not get proper amount of food, isn't it? They will not get proper amount of food and they have to starve, and because of this starvation they will not get proper amount of carbohydrates or proteins or fats, which will lead to a problem called as protein calorie malnutrition, which will result in a disease called as Merasmus. So you can see the pictures of several children who are suffering from Merasmus. And thirdly, we'll go ahead with the obesity. This is because of the overeating of the food, and this will become a very, very big health hazard, because this will lead to a disease. This will lead to the problems called as diabetes, and after that the heart will be affected, and then there will be kidney problems, renal problems and whatnot, and even gallbladder problems. So it's always good to maintain proper weight. Okay, and everybody should stop habits which will lead to the obesity. So if they have control over the diet and followed by a regular exercise, then you can keep this obesity aside. So these are the things which we have learned today, and tomorrow we'll go ahead with one more topic and we'll finish this unit. Okay, and is it okay, children? Done. Okay, so see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.